From the Hussman School of Journalism and Media at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics. This is Sports Extra.
Let's make one thing clear. The odds makers who made Carolina a 21-point favorite against App State didn't know anything about the history of this intense matchup. Welcome to Sports Extra. I'm Isabella Gescos.
And I'm Lee Jeffries. Thanks for joining us. On Saturday, UNC football hosted in-state opponent Appalachian State at Kenan Stadium, looking to remain unbeaten in home openers since Mack Brown's return to Chapel Hill in 2019. After a back-and-forth 45 minutes, the Mountaineers scored on their first drive of the final quarter to take a 24-20 lead. But Omarion Hampton found the end zone soon after for one of his 3 touchdown runs on the day, leaving the Heels clinging to a 3-point advantage. Later in the quarter, App State responded with a 12-play, 69-yard drive, resulting in a game-tying field goal with less than 90 seconds. Drake May marched the offense down the field, executing the 2-minute drill to perfection, and set up Ryan Coe for a 39-yard game-winning field goal that he pushed far left as time expired. The Mountaineers and Heels traded touchdowns in the first overtime. Carolina began second overtime with possession, and May capitalized by taking this RPO 13 yards to the house, finishing with an emphatic finger roll. A failed 2-point conversion set up a pivotal App State drive, but the secondary denied wide receiver Deshaun Davis to secure a nail-biting 40-34 victory, which the team credited to Hampton and the run game. Our football analyst, Rachel Kivlin,
ran the ball so well for the whole game, over 230 yards rushing, and probably was the difference in the ball game. And when we needed it at the end, we rode the horse.
There we go. Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah, just keep feeding him the rock. I think y'all see when he walked in, he's a tough dude to tackle 4 quarters.
The O-line was part, though. Really, the whole night, they would just open up holes. So if they open up the holes, I got to hit them. That's my job.
Our football analyst, Rachel Kivlin, has more about this in-state saga and the player who almost single-handedly put the Heels in the win column. Rachel?
It was a dark and stormy night Saturday in Kenan Stadium with all the suspense and drama we know is synonymous with Carolina football. Now, I've said it once and I'll say it again. Whenever the Heels face the App State Mountaineers, it is always a cardiac Carolina game. And Omarion Hampton had to put in a Herculean effort to help Carolina avoid what would have been a devastating home loss. Hampton stole the show with 26 carries for 234 yards and 3 touchdowns. Check out the wheels on number 28 as he powers across the field with untouchable speed, a career-long 68-yard touchdown. Like a 220-pound bulldozer, Hampton bodied a 7-yard touchdown run in the 4th quarter, moving UNC ahead for the 4th lead change of the game. Check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders on him, but unable to stop Hampton as he goes face first and extends his arm for the 6 points. The Mountaineers' first touchdown strike in the beginning of first overtime didn't stop 28. He answered with his 3rd touchdown of his dominant performance. Hampton cuts the sharp left and propels himself forward, scoring 17 yards out on that run, extending the game to double overtime. UNC will host Minnesota next Saturday in the first ever meeting between the programs, and we hope this one won't send us into cardiac arrest again. Lee?
Tell me, Rachel, have you recovered from the Saturday night game anxiety?
Honestly, Lee, we need to go a few years without playing the Nears so that I and several thousand others have time to heal.
Football analyst Rachel Kivlin, thanks. And maybe consider setting up a yoga session or some meditation to get you back in the right headspace.
The success of last season and the abundance of talent up and down UNC's roster had fans thrilled for this season, and nowhere was that more apparent than the size of the crowd at Saturday's home opener. But even on the road, Carolina fans still show out. Emma Hall has more.
141 miles from Chapel Hill, UNC students got up before the sun to cheer on the real Carolina at College Game Day in Charlotte. One of those students was Braxton Jenks, a senior majoring in economics. Jenks said he grew up watching Game Day and was willing to get up as early as needed to be there.
Drove down there Friday night and then got up super early Saturday morning at about 3:45. Got in the car at 4, made it to game day at 4:20, and stayed there for like 8 hours.
Luke Phillips, a junior majoring in exercise sports science, said he had been to game days before.
I've been to the basketball college game day a few times, and that's great and all, but like as far as like an environment, I don't think there's really anything like that.
One aspect of college game day that sets it apart from other football shows is the sea of homemade posters in the crowd.
Trump's mugshot, and it said, "Me if betting UNC minus 2.5 was illegal."
NCAA, and like it said, like not caring about athletes because of the Tez Walker situation.
At the end of college game day, it's tradition for the on-air talent to pick which teams they think will win that Saturday. Lee Corso's final pick was particularly special for Tar Heel fans.
He grabs that Ramsey's head, puts it on his head, and we just go absolutely crazy.
Overall, the experience was one that UNC football fans won't forget soon.
Something that you don't really get to do very often. You don't know when you'll get to do it again. So definitely it was very worth it. I'll say that. Very worth it.
It's clear that UNC students' love for Carolina football extends far beyond Kenan Stadium. I'm Emma Hall reporting.
One of Sports Extra's very own anchors, BJ Tillman, was also at College Game Day, making her ESPN debut, highlighting the Tar Heel fan experience. Let's take a look.
Heel and Gamecock fans have traveled from all over to be here in Charlotte tonight to cheer on their teams as they battle and as they wait for kickoff.
All of us here at Sports Extra are so excited to see what the future holds for BJ, and we are so proud of her. The NFL is back, and so is former Tar Heels quarterback Sam Howell, who is in his second season with the Washington Commanders. Howell drops back against the visiting Arizona Cardinals, but finds no one open, but improvises and bang, hits Brian Robinson Jr. with a crossbody throw for a touchdown. Howell would finish the game with 202 yards passing and a touchdown, completing 19 of 31 in a rather impressive outing in only his second NFL start. But will Washington get the win? Down 6, Howell drops back in the red zone, rolls left, uses his feet, and runs it in for the go-ahead touchdown. Washington wins with the game behind Howell 20-16.
Trying to keep a hot streak going, the UNC women's soccer team started a weekend of travel in South Carolina against the number 10 Gamecocks. It was a strong start for the number 3 ranked Heels. Emily Moxie sent a pass from the middle down the right side of the field, and Maddie DeLean's quick footwork and cross to the center toward Avery Patterson got the Heels their first goal in the 4th minute. Later on that half, freshman Melina Rimbimbas received the ball just outside the box to get a quick touch to Tori Della Peruta, putting the Heels up 2-0. The second half was much slower for the Tar Heels. South Carolina's Shea O'Rourke came in strong from the left side and was able to fire one into the back of the net to get the Gamecocks on the board. It was a competitive second half, but the Heels came out on top to prove yet again who is the real Carolina with a score of 2-1. The UNC women's soccer team faced the Alabama Crimson Tide on Sunday, looking for the second straight win on the road. It was a slow first half. However, senior Avery Patterson got the Tar Heels on the scoreboard with a shot straight into the corner of the net. It was looking good for the Heels, but with less than 12 minutes remaining on the clock, Gianna Paul brought the game to a tie for the Crimson Tide. Neither team was able to get another goal, sending the Tar Heels home with their third draw of the season. The Tar Heels will be back at Dorrance Field on Friday, looking to rebound against Virginia Tech in their first ACC match of the season. For a recap of the women's soccer season so far, here are our soccer analysts Caroline Daly and Caroline Routh. Ladies, no losses, but 3 draws.
Lee, draws aren't bad, but they're not where we want to be. And you know what else has to do with the number 3? Well, there are 3 things we need to be thinking about. And the first has to do with last season. After a heartbreaking end to the 2022 campaign, the Heels have a chip on their shoulder. They have something to prove, and this is going to be their season to make it happen.
The team got started with dominant exhibition matches against Charleston and ECU, but lost some momentum with a draw against 10th-ranked Penn State. Caroline, let's talk about the Wisconsin draw at home. The Heels had a season-low 4 shots during the first half, one of which was a missed opportunity off of a connection between Tori Della Peruta and Mia Oliaro. I feel they were trying to regain the cleanliness they had last season that drove them to the national championship game. But in Game 4, they were still working on putting passes together that ended with the ball in the back of the net. Now let's talk about where the team stands. After those draws, the Heels have been trending upward and have had some really good performances.
Currently, the team's record is 5 wins, 0 losses, and 3 draws. and they're ranked 3rd in the country. With top 10 wins against Arkansas and South Carolina, the Heels are off to a strong start. Caroline, the Heels handed South Carolina their first loss of the season. USC averages 20.3 shots a match, but the Heels' stellar defense limited them to a season low of 8 shots.
Defense has kept UNC's opponents in the middle of the field, not allowing them to mount any kind of attack. And what else is working in the Heels' favor? Head coach Anson Dorrance is entering his 45th season and has 25 players returning, including 9 starters. And they've added 7 true freshmen and 1 graduate transfer to their 2023 roster.
The returners who have once again stepped up this season are, of course, Avery Patterson and Allie Sentnor, along with Sam Meza, Emily Moxley, and the Della Peruta sisters. And the freshmen who have already proved to be valuable additions are Evelyn Shores, Melina Rabimbas, Olivia Thomas, and Mia Oliaro.
UNC will continue to lean on the returners for leadership and look to the freshmen to provide depth and skill to this talented roster. The Heels begin ACC play Friday against Virginia Tech here at Dorrance Field. We'll be there watching the Tar Heels as they continue their campaign for their 23rd national title in 2023. Bella?
Thanks, Caroline. And Caroline, fans are excited to see how far the women's soccer team goes this season. It feels like they're due for another national championship. To learn more about one of the star first-year players, we need to look back to last spring when Mia Oliaro decided to come in a semester early to train with the team. Our soccer analyst Caroline Routh has the story.
Mia Oliaro was supposed to graduate from high school in June, but she reclassified and has been on the UNC campus since January.
I think ever since I was little, I was like, wow, like UNC women's soccer is where I want to end up.
Oliaro is a freshman on the women's soccer team.
Everybody on the team just was reaching out to me, and it was really nice, and I felt like welcomed, and I knew that this was a place that I was going to get better both on and off the field and be challenged every single day.
She grew up in Chapel Hill, and her eagerness to play for UNC allowed head coach Anson Dorrance to spread his wisdom early to Oliaro.
Yeah, if you want to become extraordinary, live on the wall, play 1v1. Mia did that, and she came in, she finished second on the team behind Avery Patterson, my best player, as a second semester high school senior in a team that was within 16 seconds of a national championship.
With her impressive practice performances this spring and being ranked number 18 in her signing class, she is sure to be an impact player, as she's already netted her first career goal for the Tar Heels in a top 10 matchup against Arkansas. Oliaro's early start and quick improvement could be the secret sauce the Heels need to make it back to the national championship, and this time come home with a ring. I'm Caroline Ralph, reporting.
Oliaro and the rest of the newbies continue to step up and help the team get back to carry this year. The 2-0-1 men's soccer team opened ACC play Friday night in Blacksburg against Virginia Tech. Right out of the gate, the Heels found themselves in a familiar defensive battle. Despite a few opportunities late in the first half, the Heels and Hokies went into the break at 0-0. The Hokies finally broke Carolina's defense in the 77th minute with a left-footed finish by freshman Oliver Roche. After a brief weather delay, the Tar Heels looked rejuvenated and quickly equalized off the left-foot screamer from Kiwanzi Airman. The two teams ultimately drew 1-1, and UNC will look to grab their first ACC win against Notre Dame on Friday.
On Sunday, the UNC field hockey team traveled up to Norfolk, Virginia for the first time since 2019. The number 2 ranked UNC team took on the Old Dominion Monarchs, hoping to extend a 2-game win streak. The Heels had a strong start. Riley Heck inserts the ball into the circle, and Peyton Worth sneaks it past the goalie, resulting in the first goal of the game. Goalie Maddie Kahn had 3 saves in a row to keep the Monarchs from gaining momentum. The Heels scored their second goal of the day in the fourth quarter. Heck was able to pass the ball off her back foot to Charlie Bruder, who redirected it into the goal, making the score 2-0. The Heels' stellar defense, led by Rome Ricardo, held ODU to only 1 goal to end the game with a score of 2-1 Carolina. The Heels are on a roll with their 4th straight win. Let's go to field hockey analyst Riley Kennedy to see what's working.
So Lee, last night I'm sitting around, what's one word to describe this team? I couldn't pin it, but it's potential. That's the word that describes this team this year, is potential. And I'll tell you why. There is the potential to go back-to-back and win yet another national championship. Now, they have the pieces to the puzzle, with one of those pieces being Riley Heck. Now, you just saw the highlights from Sunday's match when Riley had 2 assists. Let's break that down. Now, the first play you're going to see is Riley. She's just going to insert this ball from the top of the circle, right? Peyton gets below the defenders, above the goalie, does a beautiful job, sneaks it past the goalie. Now, what is Riley's bread and butter, right? What does she love to do? Now, she loves to attack this end line by the goalie. Now, this Old Dominion defender, she kind of beats her there, does a beautiful job, right? She gets her stick on the ground. That's what the coach wants. Now, it's going to force Riley back to the inside. That's fine. Riley's going to absorb the contact, shoot off her back foot, and Bruder's just going to redirect it into the goal. You're going to see the replay. Riley's forced, right? She's forced to go back here. That's fine. Create separation from your defender. Bruder tips it in. Now, this isn't Riley's first rodeo, right? She plays for Team USA. This is what she loves to do. So now she's going to air dribble it. First game of the season against Iowa. She's going to get past her defenders. She's going to shoot it. It ends up going back on Riley. But this is, I'm showing you exactly what happens. Like, what does Riley do? Now, 2022, this is last season. She's a freshman. ACC championship game. Look at that. She goes on the end line and scores. She gets below her defenders. She beats them. No one steps up. She goes right past the goalie and scores. Now, why this is important, Riley? Why are you breaking down Riley Heck's game? I'm going to tell you why. Riley Heck can lead this team back to where the Heels want to be. Where do they want to be? They want to be back in the national championship game. She has all the attributes you need in a leader on the field. Now, with the loss of key players from last season, that was a lot, but other players have to step up. It's a new era for the Tar Heels, but it's an exciting one.
Riley, ACC play starts up this week with a matchup against Louisville. What do the Tar Heels need to do to pull out a victory?
Now, Lee, I'll tell you, this is the top 5 matchup. This is huge, right? Must-watch TV. Louisville is one of the hottest teams right now in the country. Both teams love to score. They don't give up too many goals. For me, it comes down to matchups, right? Attack your matchups. Coaches, they're on the drawing boards. Penalty corners. Both teams are averaging right around 7 corners a game. That's great. The team that weathers out the storm, Lee, gets a win this weekend.
Thanks, Riley. Second top 5 match for UNC this season. Can't wait.
Moving from the turf to the ice, the Tar Heel ice hockey team had a disappointing season opener in Greensboro Friday night against High Point. The game was back and forth as High Point got on the board first, but UNC's Tommy Gilligan tied up the game with his first goal. As he buries it into the left corner, High Point and UNC traded goals 2 more times, making the score 3-3, but 2 more goals from High Point, including an empty netter, sent the Tar Heels home with an L 5-3. Carolina hockey will be back in action against Delaware on the 15th, looking to capture their first win of the season. Hoping to improve on a 3-1 record, the volleyball team took on the University of Michigan in the Big Ten ACC Challenge on Friday. The Heels started off 2 of 3 sets ahead, but Michigan took the momentum each time as they brought the heat to the net. Some bright spots were outside hitter Mabry Schaffmaster's 12 kills, middle Kaya Merkler's 4 blocks, and libero Maddie May's 20 digs. Their lack of success is due to offensive struggles. Carolina had 6 service errors, ending the final set with a serve out of bounds. The team lost in straight sets. On Sunday against Michigan State, after losing set 1, the Tar Heels fought back to win the second set with this block from UNC freshman Romani Thurman. But Mike Schau's defense was no match for the Spartans freshman Taylor Holman, who slams down her 21st kill, most by a Michigan State freshman since 2008. UNC fell in 4 sets to Michigan State to close out the weekend in Michigan. We're bringing back the play of the week this year. Yes, you heard that right. We have 2 contenders this week, one coming from the men's soccer team and the other coming from the football team. Quincy Ehrman outworked his defender to get a lefty shot 10 yards off the box to tie the Heels up in their first ACC match of the season. It's Ehrman's 3rd time finding the back of the net. I mean, look at that. It's beautiful. See it one more time.
In the first quarter of the football game against App State, running back Omarion Hampton tore past the defenders for a 68-yard rushing touchdown to give the Tar Heels their first lead in the showdown 7-3. Go to our Instagram page after the show today to vote for this week's Play of the Week. We'll announce the winner on Friday's show. Sports isn't always about competition. The UNC men's and women's basketball teams joined up with fellow UNC student athletes Sunday to raise funds to fight cancer. Brendan Lugga has the story.
The dribble of a basketball. It can be part of a victory against Duke in the Dean Dome. On Sunday morning, though, it meant a step toward victory against childhood cancer. The event, led by the Pediatric Cancer Research Foundation and the V Foundation for Cancer Research, brought together the entire Carolina athletics community to fight the disease.
Our team knows, as every student athlete at Carolina knows, we're so blessed. And if there's a way we can impact our community and give back and support young people that are fighting a battle, that is pretty great.
The 1 mile dribble around campus begins here at Carmichael Arena and goes around all of the important landmarks on UNC's campus.
From the bell tower to the old well. Sophomore guard Seth Trimble believes dribbling represents perseverance in the face of adversity.
I think one good thing that we can take out of this is just, to keep going. Everybody, whether you dribble or not, everybody walk this mile. Everybody put on a big sweat in this hot weather.
On top of the mile dribble, kids were able to play on inflatable baskets, shoot hoops in the world-famous Carmichael Arena, and meet their favorite UNC student athletes and coaches. It brings as much joy to the athletes as it does the kids.
They impact me a lot because I get to learn a lot of new stories. Maybe what somebody's gone through, like somebody's past experience. So, it's just a big thing for me.
The Pediatric Cancer Research Foundation will hold 3 more dribble events this year at St. John's, Duke, and UCLA. I'm Brendan Lungo reporting.
Lee, what an amazing event for an incredible cause.
Yeah, Bella, I know it was hot out there, but it was amazing to see the basketball teams walk in support of pediatric cancer.
And to end the show, in addition to all the accolades mentioned today in our show, we want to recognize the significance of this day in our country. The Carolina Athletics and Sports Xtra communities want to reflect on the importance of 9/11 events and the effect they had on America's history.
6 of the nearly 3,000 who passed away that day 22 years ago were affiliated with UNC, and we want to recognize their families on this day of remembrance.